मुसलमानों को ये मालूम है हमारा ये जो मुस्लिम समाज का कैंडिडेट है, तो इसका टिकट हमने बहुत पहले फाइनल कर दिया था, लेकिन मुस्लिम समाज के लोगों को ना वोट बांटना नहीं है।
कांग्रेस को अली पर, सपा बसपा को अली पर विश्वास है, हमें भी बजरंग बली पर विश्वास है।
Finally, Election Commission acts against Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and BSP Supremo Mayawati for invoking religion.
Big interesting day here in the national capital, where the Election Commission of India has finally cracked the whip. It has acted tough on top politicians of Uttar Pradesh like Yogi Adityanath and Mayawati by censoring them from campaigning for 3 days and 2 days respectively. In its orders, the Election Commission has also observed as to how these are senior leaders and they should have desisted from making such statements which has the potential to polarize the electoral process.
This move is expected to send a tough message to Netas who repeatedly indulge in divisive politics to polarize votes. Election Commission has taken action against Yogi Adityanath and Mayawati, but other Netas continue to go scot-free as EC has failed to take any conclusive action.
मैं जीत रही हूँ, लोगों की मदद, लोगों की प्यार से मैं जीत रही हूँ। लेकिन अगर मेरी जीत मुसलमानों के बिना होगी तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, क्योंकि इतना मैं बता देती हूँ कि फिर दिल खट्टा हो जाता है। फिर जब मुसलमान आता है काम के लिए, फिर मैं सोचती हूँ कि नहीं, रहने ही दो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है।
मुसलमान अಪ್ಪನಿಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯನ್ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರತಕ್ಕಂತ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪರದೇಶಿ ಅವನು ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣ ಹೇಗದ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆವಾ? ಡಿಎನ್ಎ ಪ್ರೂಫ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನಾಗಿದ್ರೆ?
Mirror now asks, is a 48-hour and 72-hour bar enough to teach a lesson to our divisive Netas? Let's debate.
Well, on the show with me, Gopal Agarwal, spokesperson of the BJP, Nalin Mehta is a very senior journalist, Arima Sundaram, senior advocate with the Supreme Court, Vinayak Dalmia for the Congress, Faizan Kidwai for the Samajwadi Party, and also we'll have Dr. S.Y. Qureshi, former Chief Election Commissioner of India, join us through the course of this conversation. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the show. My first question is to Mr. Sundaram. Mr. Sundaram, good evening and thank you for joining us. Do you believe that the Election Commission has done enough? And let's also remind our viewers that this came only after the Supreme Court asked the Election Commission some tough questions today about why no action was being taken and why the Election Commission seemed toothless. Is this evidence that the Election Commission is now willing to do enough, or will it take more than this?
Well, I don't know, Faye. As far as I'm concerned, I think as a first step, it's a very strong step which has been taken today. Look, as far as I'm concerned, I think I share the view of many people that the present elections has degenerated into communal mudslinging. Is really, you know, almost like a license is being given on both sides, on all sides, to use a religious communal card to the hilt. And to such an extent, it's being encouraged by the leaders. If the leaders of the parties are going to encourage it, I mean, what's the message you're giving all the way down? So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I have ever in my life come across an election where religion and communal card has been played to the extent it has in this election, and it is most unfortunate. Maybe that is the reason why we have never seen such a stance being taken by the Election Commission in earlier elections. There have been instances, but there have been instances which have been very couched in very temperate language, which have been carefully crafted. All that has been done. This election, people seem to have just thrown everything to the winds, caution thrown to the winds, feel it's a license to say what they want, how they want to say it, be as insulting as they want. And I'm not blaming one party for it, I'm blaming all the parties for it. So in that respect, I'm so glad that the Election Commission has taken action. And don't think this action is light. You know, the Election Commission is not toothless. It has a lot of powers. You know, even under the Representation of People's Act, under Section 125, if a person causes communal disharmony, he can actually be proceeded against and punished. Apart from that, you have other provisions by which, if such an issue is there, and any such communal reasons are being flaunted for the purpose of electoral votes, a candidate can even be disqualified. Now what happens here is, unfortunately, it's not just the candidate, it's the leaders of the party, people who are not even standing for elections, but are the leaders who are saying all this. Now, for them, the best thing that the Election Commission can really do is to say, look, you people are not yourselves standing for elections, but you are very much the face, vote getter, a very important person for the polls, for the party, and therefore the best punishment we can give you is to keep you away from polling for a fixed period of time. And that way I believe it's a good way of dealing with it. And for the fact that it's been done for the first time,
yes,
I think this 2 days and 3 days is an excellent order of the Election Commission.
But I want to bring in the politicians at this point. Mr. Agarwal, obviously, this is strong wordings from the Election Commission. This is strongly worded notice as well that's come to both of these leaders. Will the leaders of the BJP now desist from making communal comments? And do you think this is enough to make politicians stop? And I will ask this question of all the parties who are here.
No, as far as parties concerned, yes. As far as we are concerned, we have already told our campaigners, etc., to desist from any communal comments. And this is not only from the election point of view and when the model code of conduct is in place. We had told them earlier also, there were some people we were talking out of turn and which were communal in nature, and we have party president had told them that please desist from this and don't do it, otherwise actions will be taken. So as though that is one part of it. Second thing is how the Election Commission says on this particular case with regard to Mayawati or Yogi Adityanath. We have a difference of opinion with regard to what what the Election Commission has observed on Mr. Yogi, because you see we had earlier a very polarizing way which Mayawati acted and gave her speech in the very sensitive area of Saharanpur. She tried to consolidate minority in a vote bank and told them to vote en masse against BJP. This is not the way that we can contest elections. This is this has to be looked into, and this had to be, and we are happy that the Election Commission has acted on that. But we would like to ask the Congress and other opposition, the way they are putting the institution like Election Commission under stress on every issues and countering them on issues which are which are not even relevant and which has been clarified by the Election Commission. They are creating a very strong stress on the Election Commission, which is already under pressure to conduct these huge elections.
I don't believe that it will be anybody's intention right now to provide stress relief for the Election Commission. It's a small period of time in our country where the model code is active, where the Election Commission has to take the stress of the entire country, because there is no other agency at that point other than the Election Commission. So let's not worry about giving them stress. I'll ask you. Okay, let me ask you this question, and I'm reading out of the order of the Election Commission to Mr. Yogi Adityanath.
No, I'm just telling.
It says the Commission again has seen the video recording of his speech and is convinced that he made a highly provocative speech which has a tone and tenor to aggravate existing differences and create mutual hatred between religious communities, and is thus violative of the aforesaid provisions of the Model Code of Conduct. What part of this does the BJP disagree with?
The BJP say that we say that Mr. Yogi Adityanath did not say any provocative statement. He was countering what Ms. Mayawati said before 2 days and tried to consolidate the minority vote in that favor. And he only said that we believe in Bajrang Bali, and he said that he did not ask votes in the name of any religion or etc. He reiterated his faith that I believe in Bajrang Bali. That's all.
No, but Gopal Agarwal, to say they believe in Ali, we believe in Bajrang Bali. Obviously, you don't see anything wrong with it, but I'm glad you're not in the decision-making seat at this point. It's the Election Commission. I can see Faizan Kidwai put his hand up. Mr. Kidwai, yes. Let me tell you, before you launch off against the BJP, आपके पार्टी के leaders आजकल underwear की color गिना रहे हैं. क्या हो रहा है आपकी पार्टी में? Are you going to remove him from your party? Yes or no? Is this the respect that your party has for women?
Mr. Azam Khan, and I'm sure you know he has. No, not at all, not at all. As far as Samajwadi Party is concerned, see, for us, women's security and respect for women is the greatest priority, is the highest priority. And as far as Mr. Azam Khan is concerned, he has made himself very clear that he was not talking about Jayaprada ji.
So who was he talking about?
Maybe he was talking about...
Could I just speak with Mr. Kidwai directly? Mr. Kidwai, if Mr. Azam Khan's yes, defense is that he was not talking about Ms. Jayaprada, who was he talking about? Please tell me, under which circumstances is it okay to talk about someone's underwear at a public forum? So who was he talking about, and in what circumstances is that okay? Please explain it.
No, I'm not here to defend him, first of all. I'm just telling you the statement. He made his point clear that he was not talking about Jayaprada ji. He was maybe talking about Mr. Amar Singh.
Oh, so it's okay in Mr. Amar Singh's case to talk about the color of his underwear?
Yeah.
Really? It's okay in Mr. Amar Singh's case?
No, I'm not saying that.
Then?
No.
Please tell me why the SP, will the Samajwadi Party disqualify him and take his ticket back? Will you disqualify him and take his ticket back within the Samajwadi Party?
If this amounts to disqualification, then first of all, Mr. Narendra Modi should be disqualified. He's somebody who was putting a price tag on a woman. He's the one who said 50 lakh ki girlfriend. He's the one who talks about, compares a woman's laughter to soup na kha. There are a lot of statements of Mr. Yogi Adityanath. He's somebody who was sitting, who was sharing a stage when a statement was made that dig out Muslim women from the grave and rape them. And apart from this, Sushma Swaraj ji was trolled by people who the Prime Minister himself follows. Prime Minister follows a lot of such people who on a daily basis give threats to women. Sorry?
Mr. Kidwai, okay. I've heard your answer.
I'm not defending any statement from anyone.
I heard your answer. Let me tell you this. As a woman in this country, this race to the bottom among political parties of I will say something disrespectful about a woman, and when someone asks me for justification, I'll point out to the next guy, and each of you is worse than the other. Let's not forget the fact that Mulayam Singh Yadav was the one who said, "Ladke hain, galtiyan ho jate hain." At that time, you took no action against him, and at this point, you take no action against Mr. Azam Khan because you have zero respect for women in your party.
Yes.
Just own up to it. Why don't we just be honest about it? Say, you know what? We don't care about women, and then.
No, you should remember that Mr. Akhilesh Yadav and his wife immediately made a statement that no comment about a woman, disrespecting a woman would be tolerated.
And so why are you tolerating it today?
And women's security is of great importance.
So why is Akhilesh Yadav tolerating it today?
His wife, Dimple Yadav ji, this is the statement they made that.
Why are they tolerating Azam Khan today?
See, Azam Khan Sahab has not made a derogatory statement against Jayaprada ji. Okay. Amar Singh says that I'll get 150 rifles and kill this man. I'll get 150 rifles and shoot Azam Khan the moment I see him. So that's also provocation.
Is that available?
I'm not defending the statement.
Faizan Kidwai, with all due respect, listen to the sound bite. Listen to the sound bite, and then tell me what you think. Play it out, please.
जिसकी उंगली पकड़कर हम रामपुर में लेकर आए, रामपुर की गलियां, रामपुर की सड़कों की पहचान कराई, किसी का कांधा नहीं लगने दिया, उसके शरीर से आप गवाही दोगे, कांधा नहीं लगने दिया, छूने नहीं दिया, गंदी बात नहीं करने दी। आपने 10 साल अपना प्रतिनिधित्व कराया, मगर आपने और मुझे क्या फर्क है? शाहबाद वालों, रामपुर वालों, उत्तर प्रदेश वालों, हिंदुस्तान वालों, उसकी असलियत समझने में आपको 17 बरस लगे। मैं 17 दिन में पहचान गया कि इनके नीचे का जो अंडरवेयर है वो खाकी रंग का है। मैं 17 दिन में पहचानूंगा। आपको पहचानने में 17 बरस लगे।
So, are you telling me he was referring to Amar Singh in that bite?
This is what he said. I mean, without taking Amar Singh's name, he clearly said that first of all he took nobody's name there. Because but maybe he is talking about Mr. Amar Singh because.
All right. Okay, yeah. Mr. Kidwai, you know, I'm from the south. My Hindi is not very good. I'm sure yours is much better since you're in Lucknow. But you know, the references were to a woman in the grammar of that sentence. Unless you didn't catch them. No, definitely not. Not at all, ma'am. Okay, not at all. Let me open this up to the rest of the panel. He clearly said that I am not talking about anybody. And of course not Jaya Pradaji. He's not talking about Jaya Pradaji, that's for sure. All right. That's for sure. Let me bring the rest of the panel back. Yeah. Nalin Mehta is a senior journalist. I understand he can hear us now. Nalin, good evening. Thank you for joining us. It's a race to the bottom right now. And I completely agree with Mr. Sundaram about the fact that political discourse has become despicable. Every day we hear something that's worse and perhaps even more difficult to believe than the previous day. Do you, while we're grateful for the election, to the Election Commission for finally taking some action, in the case of Azam Khan, do you believe the Election Commission should also step in there? Were there other instances, Maneka Gandhi, for example, another shocking speech that was made? Should the Election Commission perhaps react faster? Because it is taking too long.
I'm totally in agreement with Ariman Sundaram and other panelists on the show that the current level of discourse in this election has reached a new low. We've not seen the discourse plumbing such depths before, and this is from all sides. The Election Commission, should it have acted faster? Yes, of course. In fact, today in court, when the hearing was going on, the Election Commission's lawyer was, as I understand it right, was arguing about the fact that its leeway to act is a little bit limited, which is when the court asked it to explain, and the Deputy Election Commissioner will be in court tomorrow. I think the Election Commission has got enough leeway to act. I think it should have acted faster. It should have used its powers more. In fact, in the case of Azam Khan, it should act. Azam Khan is a habitual offender. If in the last election as well, Azam Khan, just the kind of action that's been taken today on Yogi Adityanath and Mayawati, the same kind of action was taken in the last election on Amit Shah and on Azam Khan. In the case of Amit Shah, the ban was lifted after it was imposed because he had given a statement to the Election Commission. Azam Khan, however, in 2014 refused to be contrite, and he actually stood by his statements, which is why the Election Commission kept the ban on. And I think you're absolutely right. I'm not sure why should you be making public statements which mention underwear in political discourse. So I just don't understand how anyone can defend what Azam Khan has been saying. And as far as Maneka Gandhi's statement is concerned, there are a whole bunch of other statements. There have been statements about how you can identify Muslims by simply looking under their clothes. I mean, all of these statements are absolutely despicable, and we do need an aggressive election commission.
Absolutely, we need an aggressive election commission. Mr. Sundaram, do you want to respond?
Hey, can I come in, please?
Yes, all right. Vinayak Dalmia, go ahead.
Hey, can I come in, please? Thank you so much. So I think this, my comment is that this is an excellent start, and we welcome this decision by the Election Commission. I'm glad the Election Commission, after guidance from the Supreme Court, has recognized that it has wide powers. And I do want to highlight that this is a result of a Congress Andolan, because we submitted a petition with the Election Commission and we proposed a 3-tier system where first-time offenders, habitual offenders and repeat offenders. The unfortunate part is that this is led from the front. This is led from the top, from the Prime Minister and the party president of the BJP, Amit Shah. If you hear what the Prime Minister says, if you hear what Amit Shah says, if you hear what Maneka Gandhi says, if you hear what Yogi Adityanath says, and if you hear what Anant Hedge says, and these are just some examples. These are habitual offenders, and they have made a living out of the politics of poison and the politics of hatred and the politics of division of people. And it is high time the Election Commission looks at a penalty clause, and I hope they looked at even a stricter, much stricter penalty clause. And I'd like to highlight just 2 things. There are two books here in front of me, Faye. The first is a copy of the Constitution of India. The BJP does not believe in this book. This book talks about we the people of India, which means all the people of India.
What
The
is your
second book is a
respect
copy,
for the
volume 1
Supreme
of the
Court
Bhagavad Gita.
we to know today?
And the Bhagavad Gita talks about, the Bhagavad Gita and India scriptures talk about
how much you
Vasudeva
respect
Kutumbakam,
Supreme Court
where
is
the whole
known.
world is your family.
Your
The
president is
the
having a
BJP
contempt
does not
of
believe in either
court
of these
case
books
notice
or either
against
of
him.
these
Gentlemen,
contents.
please don't speak
They don't
over each
believe in
other.
the Constitution, which talks about we the people of India. They don't believe in the Constitution, which talks about we the people of India, which means all the people of India. They do not believe in our scriptures or the Bhagavad Gita, which talks about Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means the entire world is your family.
Okay, hang on. Okay, gentlemen, let's
in the politics of division
Vinayak
and the
Dalmia.
politics of hatred.
Vinayak Dalmia didn't. Okay, hang on. Vinayak Dalmia didn't. 1 second, gentlemen. Didn't the Congress spokesperson Pavan Khera?
Can I say something?
No, 1 second. Didn't the Congress spokesperson Pavan Khera on a television debate on the 16th of March actually say M for Masood, O for Osama, D for Dawood and I for ISI? Mr. Dalmia? Didn't the Congress receive a notice from the Election Commission for that? And let's be honest about the fact that political discourse has spiraled downwards on all parties.
I agree, Faye, I agree with you, and the race is to the bottom. But
Yes.
who is the leader in this race? Who is the leader? It's your own it's our Prime Minister.
So are you saying that the Congress has no choice but to follow?
They are the leaders. They are shining beacons.
So, okay, so tell me this.
I'm not saying that.
Vinayak Dalmia, we brought this up.
Please understand and please
we brought
see
this
for
up
record.
on the day the Raphael judgment.
Please see for record. Let me finish. Okay, finish. Faye, please see for record. Please see on record that it is a Congress-led delegation that went to the Election Commission, and we said that the law is above everyone, and that includes every single political party and politician, including the Congress. We have gone to the Election Commission and we have proposed this three-tier penalty system. It is us who's done this because we believe that the law is above everyone and nobody, no matter who you are, can abuse the law. And therefore, yes, the same law, the same punishment and the same penalty will be applicable to us if we are found guilty.
All right. Vinayak Dalmia, I heard you out.
I heard you out. It is the BJP which is constantly found guilty of offences.
We've got Dr. Qureshi with us. We have Arima Sundaram with us. I want to give them an opportunity to comment on this. Dr. Qureshi, the election. No, 1 second. The Election Commission went to court today and said that it doesn't have too much room to actually discipline politicians who cross the line. Post which we saw these two orders come out. Is this enough, Dr. Qureshi, to clean up what is happening at this point?
I think after the Commission has demonstrated its power using Article 324, so that is the thing. Election Commission has a lot of power. The only thing is its power and patience was tested right by very, very senior leaders day in and day out. And I'm glad that the Election Commission gathered courage and came out using the Article 24 power, 324 power, which Supreme Court had clarified. It didn't require a Supreme Court to remind the election power. And it's unfortunate that 324 has to be used by the day.
Yes, and we will try to improve the audio on Dr. Qureshi's link. But Mr. Sundaram, you've heard the arguments from all of the politicians, and I saw a sort of wry smile from you as well. But unfortunately, this is what happens. All political parties point fingers at each other, and no one wants to be held accountable for what is being done by the members of their own party. We all know, and we've seen this happen, that right now, divide and rule is perhaps the route that most political parties are adopting. What is your response to what they're saying right now and the justifications that are being offered at this point?
Well, I think, the education given by the British when they ruled India, despite the British having gone so many years ago, I'm afraid that even today political parties feel they must emulate the British and follow this divide and rule. You know what makes me especially unhappy, Faye, is the fact that the political leaders apparently encourage it. Otherwise, you're not going to have the other persons in the party workers following it. And if it is felt that this is such a good way of garnering votes, does it not reflect on all of us as Indians that really the political leaders of this country, all the parties, and here again I will not single out a party because all the parties are equally responsible, but does it not shame us as Indians to feel that, well, if all the political leaders feel that this kind of polarization actually gets votes, that all of us as voters are nothing but cattle who are capable of getting polarized? I think it really reflects on all of us Indians. It reflects on all of us Indians because let's accept one thing. The politician goes out to garner the maximum votes and support. The politician has done a study and knows what will be his trump card, what is his best way to attract the electorate. And if after all that, the politicians today feel the best way to get the electorate with them is to polarize them, bring up hate mongering, to make these kind of speeches, finally it all reflects on you and me. We are the voters, we are the electorate, and obviously we get taken in by this hate mongering. Now, the only thing the Election Commission can do is to really say, look, all you people, unfortunately, are unable to see the good from the bad, are unable to say, not get influenced by the hate mongering, and therefore excising powers under Article 324, keeping in mind the model code of conduct, we can take action. But remember one thing, when the Election Commission takes action, as for example today, in stopping star campaigners, and in Uttar Pradesh, the 2 star campaigners, from doing any kind of political campaign over the next 24 and 72 hours, it's a very, very serious blow, and it also takes away a very serious right which these people have. Now, if you're taking away their right to be able to campaign, their right to free speech, etc., then you must give them a hearing. Natural justice demands that before you do that, you must give them an opportunity. What I think the Election Commission needs to do is to try to figure out a way in which all this can be compressed into a very short period of time. But the fact is, the Election Commission needs to give a notice, has to give a reasonable time, maybe not days, but at least 24 hours to reply to the notice. The Election Commission has to get all the transcripts and all the videotapes, everything else, and study all that, and then consider the reply and then come to a conclusion. So the law also demands that the Election Commission, when taking away such a right, gives that opportunity. So to expect the Election Commission to react within an hour is not a practical solution. But the fact is that if they react quickly enough, even a punishment like saying stay away for 2 days is a huge, huge deterrent. Coupled with the fact that if the Election Commission is this serious, tomorrow it could result in disqualification of an elected person or could result in prosecution. I feel this is a message which has been given by the Election Commission today, and I only hope that our politicians will learn something from it, and I hope and pray we see an improvement tomorrow. But finally, I only say this. We as Indians have to ask ourselves the question, why are we so carried away by this hate mongering? Why is it that we become putty to these politicians and become, prey to this hate mongering and vote based on that? I think
why is it so easy to?
Faye, let me come in. Faye, please let me come in.
Vinayak Dalmia, actually, I must ask you this.
Put in a word?
Just one at a time, please. I must ask you this, Mr. Dalmia. When we were actually covering the Rafael judgment on this channel, I remember we raised the question of Rahul Gandhi saying that the Supreme Court has said ki Chaukidar chori kar raha hai, which was not a fair quote of the Supreme Court. Has it become a free-for-all to say almost anything in this campaign at this point? What is the Congress's response to that comment and that accusation?
You raise very valid points, and I think the trouble here is of 2 things. One is of hate news or hate speech, and the other is of fake news. And the BJP is a champion in both.
No, answer the question.
Congress has nothing to hide. If the Congress had something to hide, please remember, I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. If the Congress had any problem,
Faye, you gave him time before also. You should have,
this is a result of a Congress Andolan.
Faye, I would
understand
request
this is the
this,
result of a
sermons
Congress
should
Andolan
not come
where
from
we have
Congress
gone to
secretary.
the Election Commission,
No, Faye, you
submitted
should
a
have given me a
petition,
chance. I
and
had
we are
asked for-
saying
I raised
we
my
have
hand.
gone to the Election Commission and submitted a
Okay.
petition
All right.
that
So, hang
anybody,
on.
any
Vinayak Dalmia,
political
I'm
party,
going to,
we are
I'm going
not
to stop
saying in our
both of you.
petition, Faye,
I'm going to,
Faye,
hang
we're
on. No,
not
no,
saying
Mr.
in our
Dalmia, I'm going to
petition-
stop both of you
Faye,
because
we
you're
are
not
not
answering
saying
my
in our
question and
petition
Gopal
that there
Agarwal
should
is
be any
speaking over you.
discrimination
So let
or
me
there
just take
should
the
be any
question
other-
then
What is
to
both of
Nalin
you?
Mehta.
I have not
Can I
spoken.
speak with Nalin Mehta, please? Mr. Mehta, good evening. Here's the question. Will parties take chances like this? If the Election Commission was stronger, perhaps now there will be a little more fear in the hearts, but they were functioning up until now with almost impunity, the fact that they felt that nothing would happen. We even had a comment from one politician who said, I'm going to do whatever I want. I don't care about the Model Code of Conduct. So will the parties be more cautious if from now onwards after the action the Election Commission has taken? And do you believe perhaps that this is the worst campaign you've seen in your professional career as a journalist?
I think the Election Commission has legal powers. It also has a moral, it also has a certain kind of morality attached to it. So when the Election Commission is seen to be acting and is seen to be punitive on those who are seen to be crossing what is deemed to be acceptable political discourse, it will act as a deterrent to other political parties. This is exactly why the Supreme Court was irked in the hearing today, which preceded the action on Mayawati and on Adityanath. In fact, in the case of Mayawati, she was given a show cause notice. She had to respond by the 12th of April. She had not responded, which is why the court said, look, what have you done if she has not responded? The Election Commission's lawyer then said that, look, our powers are limited in this case. And then the court said, then you need to explain to us what really do you think are your powers are and what actions you've taken on those who you think are erring as far as this is concerned. In my professional career, I think a lot of campaigns, they scrape the bottom of the barrel. What is different about the 2019 Lok Sabha campaign is that very often what happens in political campaigns is that the top leaders of most political parties, they sort of remain on the straight and narrow, but it's the lower level functionaries who always who cross the boundary line and they do dog whistle politics. What's happening in this election, I think, is that the lines are being crossed by the top leaders across many political parties. So in that sense, the gloves are off, the pretenses are off, and just like Ariman Sundaram was saying, as far as identity politics is concerned, as far as the politics of religion is concerned, there's almost seems to be no Lakshman Rekha now. People are saying it, the kind of stuff that you would hear on in a conversation in a drawing room when you don't need, the need for political correctness seems to be just completely off. What the problem with that is the moment you do that, very often it crosses the boundary into hate speech, and therefore the Election Commission is right to act. It should have acted faster, and now that it has, it should put at least some fear of deterrence in other political leaders.
Yes, so here's my question to Gopal Agarwal, who wanted to speak. Gopal Agarwal, the speech made by Maneka Gandhi, where she said that if the Muslims don't vote for me, when I win, and I'm going to win, and a Muslim comes to me for some work, I will not feel like helping that person. I don't even want to play that bite out one more time on this channel. I think everybody's seen it.
If you
what is your response to it?
Yeah, I will answer, but if you give me time to... So I will answer all the questions. I'll just need to speak on other issues also, which you gave Mr. Vinayak Dalmia several times, where he was giving sermons. I would request him to keep those sermons for Congress party. They are completely denouncing every institution one after another.
I'm sorry,
they
Mr.
don't
Gopal.
have faith on election commission.
Please don't interrupt
They
each
are
other.
putting them under stress, pressure.
And
now even...
Okay, hang on. Come back to me. Ajay, listen, I'm just going to remind the politicians... Mr. Dalmia, do not interrupt. Do not speak over other people. This is not that channel. This is not that kind of debate, and I do not appreciate it. And when you all speak over each other, the audience cannot understand what you're saying. You defeat my purpose above your own. So I'm going to come back to Mr. Gopal Agarwal. Mr. Gopal Agarwal, I will remind you one more time. My question was about Maneka Gandhi's hate speech and the threats she issued to her Muslim voters? Please answer that question. Vinayak Dalmia, please do not interrupt him. Go ahead.
But I would like to say something. I'll answer that question, but I would like to say is what Supreme Court today said. The way Congress is trying to subvert the institutions, the way they are trying to build lies and fake news across everywhere, either it is letters or putting words into the mouth of through the Supreme Court order. And they are not even apologetic.
You shouldn't be talking about fake news. Sorry to interrupt. You shouldn't be talking about fake news. You are the champions of fake news.
Notice. So,
champions in spreading fake news.
Okay. Yes.
Mr. Agarwal, so please answer the question I have asked you.
When Supreme Court order says, yes, I will.
When
but
will you?
You should have asked Mr. Dalmia to answer what you had asked.
All right.
You asked, the issue is...
Okay, Mr. Agarwal, I have less than 5 minutes left on the show. Do you want to answer my question or should I move to another guest?
Yes, I am answering Mrs. Menka Gandhi. Next, they said that what I meant was negatively construed statement, and she said that if it has done anything, she has apologized for that. Once you apologize for that, then what happens? If the Congress and other people apologize, at least you should. We will feel that they have respect for the institutions or the feeling of the people.
An apology
they are neither apologizing. They are continuing to defend these issues. Yes, no, does not say that an apology only makes something wrong as a right, but it means that you are accepting that we will be careful in the future. We are accepting the Mrs. Menka Gandhi said and
when the Prime Minister,
that I did not mean in that way. I had said it a negatively construed statement. No, but I would like to talk on other issues also.
No, answer my question.
What is there?
Mr. Agarwal, when the Prime Minister said that this is that the Prime Minister said that Hindus are angry and Rahul Gandhi wants to contest in a place where there are no Hindus in majority. And he said the Hindus who believe in brotherhood, who believe one family will come together. Do you not believe that this is communally divisive?
Yes, so what is the harm in that?
What is the harm in that? Okay.
No,
you don't believe that the Election Commission specifically says that you are not to bring in religion in election speeches? What is the need to bring in election, to bring in religion?
The Election Commission or Model Code says, no, Faye, the issue is that if you ask for votes in the name of religion, that is wrong. But if you say, talk about any religion, you cannot say. Just now, Mr. Vinayak Dalmia was talking about Bhagavad Gita, giving sermons out of it. Is it model code of conduct? You can talk about religion, you can talk about your faith, you can say that I am a Hindu, but if you say people that I am a Hindu, vote for me because I work for particular religious community, that is what is communal politics. That is not acceptable. And if Mayawati says that she addresses Muslims to vote for her and defeat BJP and ask Muslims to vote en masse for that party, that is communal politics.
Mr. Agarwal, आप कभी नौकरियों के बारे में बात कीजिए ना, आप कभी डिमोनेटाइजेशन के बारे में बात कीजिए, आप किसानों के बारे में बात कीजिए, आप इश्यूज के बारे में बात कीजिए। आप लोग तो रिलीजन के आगे कुछ सूझता ही नहीं आपको, मंदिर मस्जिद के सामने सारे पॉलिटिशियंस वही चीज लेके बैठे हैं। At what point will you come to the issues? At what point will you all talk about jobs? At what point will you all talk about farmers? At what point will you talk about health? Do you know that the number of women who die during childbirth has gone up in our country in the last 5 years? You know, the number of children who are actually born stunted and malnourished has gone up in our country. The people are starving. There are real issues, and this is what our discourse has come to. What religion? What religion will vote how? Shame on us. Shame on us as voters. That this is the kind of political class that we have now merited for encouraging this sort of behavior. That they think not only can they get away with it, but they think this is the best we deserve. We don't deserve any better than this. That they will go around reminding us that we're no better than our religion that we were born into. that we have no hope for a better life, that education and healthcare and jobs will not improve the condition of our lives, and we will always be typecast on our caste and our religion. Shame on us. Mr. Sundaram, there seems to be a clear lack of understanding of political correctness. There seems to be a clear lack of understanding of the Model Code of Conduct and the violations that these parties are themselves currently, I should use the word indulging in, because Gopal Agarwal seems to think there was nothing wrong with any of the statements that I read out. Is this the political class that we have merited for ourselves?
The unfortunate fact is...
Mr. Sundaram, please go ahead.
Well, the unfortunate fact is, yes, this is the political class we have inherited for ourselves. Yes, because obviously when these kind of election campaigns are run, it attracts people to the hustings, attracts people to vote one way or the other. And yes, it is ourselves to blame. But one thing I will tell you is that there is also a feeling as right now, one must win this election. One must get the seats in the election, and we shall see the consequences later. It's almost like saying the end justifies the means. The end is win the election. Let's see what happens later. Which is why I think it's a human task. It's a human task of dealing with this, and I'm sure that the Election Commission is really, faced with a huge issue. How do you deal with this when it's not, in today's case, you have these two political giants of Uttar Pradesh, but it doesn't stop there. It's all over the country. And is the Election Commission going to be seeing about how to conduct the elections, or is their whole, aim being to run after place to place to place, get evidence to see who is breaching the model code? Unfortunately, it's really a case where the Election Commission today is going to end up spending all its time running after people who are breaching the model code and taking action against them. That ought to have been the exception. That ought to have been the exception, not the rule. Unfortunately, and that's why I said these elections have lowered themselves to the lowest ever. Because what used to be the exception has today become the rule.
Yes.
And if it has become the rule, it's because Faye, you and I obviously like this kind of campaigning. Obviously vote because of this campaigning. So like you said, put the shame where it lies.
Absolutely. We have to wrap this up here because we've run out of time. In conclusion, my appeal to voters in this election is to please, for heaven's sake, go out and vote. Our politicians think we're stupid. It's simply that. They think we're stupid. They think we cannot see past cheap hate and base emotions. And so the more they make us hate each other, the less we will ask them questions about jobs, about farmers, about inflation, about why all of our indications of economy are dropping and why we didn't do better in the last 5 years. But we're not stupid, are we? We're the power that drives this country. We have access to information. The cities of Bangalore and Chennai will go out to vote this weekend. It's a long weekend. I beg you, please, please vote. If you plan to drive out for the long weekend, the booth opens at 7 in the morning. Please vote before you drive out. Get an early start. But it is up to you, those who are watching right now, who believe you know better, who believe that you have access to information to choose progress over hate and to choose vikas over divisive policies. If you know better, then make your vote count. You owe that to the country and you owe that to yourself. Thanks for watching.